The Lisunov Li-2, originally designated PS-84, was a license-built version of the Douglas DC-3. It was produced by Factory No. 84 in Moscow, Khimki and, after evacuation in 1941, at TAPO in Tashkent. The project was directed by aeronautical engineer Boris Pavlovich Lisunov. Design and development: the Soviet Union received its first DC-2 in 1935. Although a total of 18 DC-3s had been ordered on April 11, 1936, the government of the USSR purchased 21 DC-3s for operation by Aeroflot before World War II. A production license was awarded to the government of the USSR on July 15, 1936. Lisunov spent 2 years at the Douglas Aircraft Company, between November 1936 and April 1939, translating the design. One of the engineers who accompanied him to Douglas was Vladimir Mikhailovich Myasishkov. Design work and production was undertaken at State Aviation Factory 84 in Khimki. The Soviet version was given the designation PS-84, Passazhirsky Samolyot 84, Passenger Airplane 84. Despite the original intention to incorporate as few changes as necessary to the basic design, the GAZ-84 works had to make some 1,293 engineering change orders to the original Douglas drawings, involving part design, dimensions, materials and processes, most as a part of metrication of the design from U.S. customary units to suit Soviet standards, no small task for Vladimir Myasishkov to accomplish. The well-established FTSAV Design Bureau, responsible for the great bulk of the Soviets' air-cooled radial aviation powerplant designs of the 1930-40s, used their FTSAV-62IR radial engines, a Soviet development of the 9-cylinder Wright R1820 Cyclone 9 for powering the PS-84. The same Wright aeronautical Cyclone 9 radial also powered the earliest Douglas DST sleeper transport versions and initial 21-passenger versions of the original American DC-3 airliner. The Russian standard design practice also usually mandated fully shuttered engines in order to cope with the extreme temperatures. A slightly shorter span was incorporated, but many of the other alterations were less evident. The passenger door was moved to the right side of the fuselage, with the top opening cargo door on the left side in place of the original passenger door. The structural reinforcement included slightly heavier skins necessitated since the metric skin gauges were not exact duplicates of the American alloy sheet metal. Standard Russian metric hardware was different, and the various steel substructures such as engine mounts and landing gear, wheels, and tires were also quite different from the original design. Later modifications allowed the provision of ski landing gear in order to operate in remote and Arctic regions. The first PS-84s began to emerge from the GAZ-84 production line by 1939. By the time Germany invaded the USSR on June 22, 1941, 237 picoseconds-84s had been built at GAZ-84, all in civil passenger configuration. In response to the invasion, the Kremlin set in motion a plan to relocate much of the industrial capability of the Soviet Union to the east, with production of the Li-2 ending up at GAZ-33 in Tashkent, now the capital of Uzbekistan. After a monumental struggle, the factory was rolling out PS-84s again by January 1942. GAZ-124 at Kazan also built 10 aircraft before the start of World War II, and 353 Li-2TS were built by GAZ-126 at Komsomolsk-na-Amur between 1946 and 1950 before this plant switched to MiG-15 production in 1950. Some military versions of the Li-2 also had bomb racks and a dorsal turret, unlike the military C-47 development of the DC-3. Operational history: the PS-84 had flown with Aeroflot primarily as a passenger transport before World War II. When Germany attacked the Soviet Union in 1941, many of the PS-84s were taken into military use and redesignated the Lisunov Li-2 in 1942. The military models were equipped with a 7.62 mm HKAS machine gun, and later with a 12.7 mm UBK heavy machine gun. The aircraft were used for transport, partisan supply, bombing, and as ambulance aircraft. a version designated Li-2VV had a redesigned nose for extra defensive armament and could carry up to 4 250 kg bombs under the wings. Smaller bombs could be carried inside the fuselage and thrown out the freight hatch by the crew. A total of 4,937 aircraft were produced of all Li-2 variants between 1940 and 1954, and it saw extensive use in Eastern Europe until the 1960s. The last survivors in use were noted in China and Vietnam during the 1980s. There were many versions, including airliner, cargo, military transport, reconnaissance, aerial photography, parachute drop, bomber and high-altitude variants. The Li-2 also saw extensive service in the Chinese Air Force in the 1940s and 1950s. Several airlines operated Lisunov Li-2s, among others Aeroflot, CAAK, CSA, LOT, Malapam LV, Polar Aviation, TABSO and Taram. Only one Li-2 restored to airworthy condition exists in Europe. The Hungarian-registered HALIX was built in 1949 in airframe factory NR84 of Tashkent, as serial number 18,433,209, and still flies sightseeing tours and regularly participates at airshows. North Korean Air Force is known to still use a number of Li-2s for transport, although they may have been decommissioned despite their continued presence on certain air bases. Accidents and incidents. Variants. PS-84, original passenger airliner, equipped with 14 to 28 seats. Somewhat smaller span and higher empty weight, and it was also equipped with lower-powered engines compared to the DC-3. The cargo door was also transposed to the right side of the fuselage. Li-2, military transport aircraft with defensive armament. Li-2D, paratroop transport version, with reinforced floor and tie-downs, plus cargo doors on the left. Li-2P, basic civil passenger model. Li-2PG, civil combi passenger cargo version. Li-2R, reconnaissance version, with bulged windows fitted behind the cockpit. Li-2VV, bomber version. Li-2V, high-altitude weather surveillance version of the Li-2, equipped with turbocharged engines. Li-3, Yugoslavian version equipped with American Pratt & Whitney R1830 engines. Li-2T, Polish bomber training aircraft. Operators. Military Bulgaria, Bulgarian Air Force, Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakian Air Force, China, People's Liberation Army Air Force. Total of 41 Li-2 aircraft were imported for military and civil usage. The last Li-2 retired in 1986. Hungary, Hungarian Air Force, Laos, Royal Lao Air Force, Pathet Lao Guerrilla Forces, Madagascar, Mongolia, Mongolian People's Army Aviation, North Korea, Korean People's Air Force, Democratic Republic of Vietnam, Vietnam People's Air Force, Poland, Air Force of the Polish Army, Romania, Romanian Air Force, Soviet Union, Soviet Air Force, 12th Aviation Division Long Range. From 1943, other units, Syria, Syrian Air Force, Yugoslavia, SFR Yugoslav Air Force, 1st Transport Aviation Regiment, 119th Transport Aviation Regiment. Civil People's Republic of China, CAAC, Czechoslovakia, CSA, Government of Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Mala Copyright v Hungarian Airlines, North Korea, CAAK, Poland, LOT Polish Airlines, Romania, TAROM, Soviet Union, Aeroflot. Specifications. General characteristics: crew, 5 to 6, capacity, 24 passengers, length, 19.65 meters, wingspan, 28.81 m, height, 5.15 m, empty weight, 7,750 kilograms, loaded weight, 10,700 kilograms, max takeoff weight, 11,280 kilograms, power plant, TUA, Shtsevash 62 IR 4-bladed Vush 21, 746 kilowatts each, performance, maximum speed, 300 km per hour, cruise speed, 245 km per hour, range, 1,100 to 2,500 kilometers. Armament: 3 7.62 mm KAS machine guns, 1 12.7 mm UBK machine gun, 1,000 kg bombs, 2,000 kg of bombs. See also, related development, Douglas DC-3, Douglas C-47 Skytrain, Douglas AC-47 Spooky, Showa Nakajima L-2D, aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era, Boeing 247, Ilyushin Il-14, Junkers Ju-52, Saab 90 Scandia, related lists, list of aircraft of World War II, list of civil aircraft. References. Notes Bibliography External links, Lisunov Li-2 by Martin Breuer, Lisunov Li-2, The Soviet DC-3, reviewed by Scott Van Aken, Goldtimer Foundation restorers of the only remaining Li-2 still in flying condition. Hungarian Lisunov Li-2 T.